podcast, while hilarious, is not intended to be a replacement for mental health treatment, nor are we professionals in any related field. Such care should be sought from a qualified medical professional, and this is the Grippy Sox Gang podcast.
Welcome to the Grippy Sox Gang podcast. We're a duo of ladies that met in AA, bonded over trauma, and stayed for the drama. I'm Kelly. I'll be your Grippy co-host today with my Grippy co-host, Ash.
Hello.
Hi. So today we're going to talk about narcissism.
We know them. We hate them.
We want to kill them.
We want to cut them and salt them. No, I mean, we throw the term around.
Yeah,
I mean,
a lot of people do.
Yeah, it's become one of those, like, what do they call that?
Catchphrases?
Yeah, like a, overused therapy speak. And I thought it would be interesting to go into a little bit more of, like, the psychology and some of the, like, ins and outs of it.
Yeah.
What it means, how to identify it.
Yes.
Especially post-holidays.
Yes.
Because they love to ruin holidays.
And you'll be gaslit, and then you'll gaslight yourself into thinking that you're not dealing with a narcissist.
Right. Because you don't want to.
Right. And I do want to thank you before we begin for doing all the research and putting it into a Google Doc that I did not look at.
It's a really pretty Google Doc.
She flashed a little sample of it to me.
You did not need to look at it.
I really should have.
Why?
Because
listen, bitch. This is type A.
It's incredible.
This is how I thrive. I even put narcissism in our purple.
Our purple. Our color purple.
Our color purple.
Oh my God.
Which I think, Jimmy, on the shirt I gave you, did I put producer in that purple? Because it does say Grippy Sox Gang on there as well. No, I put it in blue.
Blue, and then you did well. Very well.
Jimmy did that picture.
I know.
It was the only one of us three. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to take one for... No, but like, there wasn't like a normal one of us three.
Yeah.
Which we should probably do at some point.
Yeah. For sure. We should like get it done.
We need to do some media days.
Yes, we do. Desperately. Yeah. Is Kmart real anymore?
Mm-mm.
Okay, that's what I thought.
No, I always did the JCPenney ones.
Right, JCPenney.
JCPenney.
You did Kmart?
The only time I did it was...
If only the viewers or listeners could hear how you say Kmart.
I know, where's your mic? You gotta stay mic'd up, bro.
Also, did you do more than one sound effect in the last episode? Great. Fantastic. There we go.
No, my mom brought me to JCPenney to...
You just did one. Bastard.
My mom brought me to JCPenney when I was a kid to get all glammed up.
Oh my God.
I'm pretty sure we took pictures. Mom, correct me if I'm wrong.
Incredible.
She's an avid listener.
Avid listener. Oh, I have an ornament for her too. Yeah, because she deserves it. It's true. It's true.
She's gonna love that so much.
She's the cutest, and I appreciate her so very much.
Oh my God. She put on a hell of a Christmas, I'll tell you. They do filet mignon every year.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. And it's like her whole side of the family.
Wow.
Yeah, really beautiful thing. Good job, Mom.
Beautiful thing. Beautiful. It better have been good. It better have been.
We give him a T-shirt that says producer, and he just acts like he's out here just running shit.
You guys really are siblings, long lost siblings. It's incredible.
I always wanted a brother.
You got one.
I got halfway there with the lesbian sister, but speaking of narcissists,
tell us what's on your Google Doc.
Oh my God, so much. I also put that it was recording on 12/22.
We've flown by that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, we did. So, overview of narcissism is a self-centered personality style that involves an excessive preoccupation with oneself and one's own need, often at the expense of others.
Ah.
And I thought it'd be interesting to go into the difference between narcissistic personality disorder versus narcissistic behavior.
Ooh, yes. Please. Yeah.
My epiglottis swollen.
Oh my God, mine comes up too far in my throat.
Really?
Yeah, you can see it if I open my mouth wide enough.
That's a fun party trick.
It is a great party trick. And my mom called the pediatrician when she saw it in the back of my throat when I was little. And he was like, come in right now.
Do you have to get it removed?
No, they thought they were going to have to med flight me.
Is the dangle, or is that...
It's the U-shaped thing in the back of your...
That...
yeah.
Stops. That changes air and
I think
water.
so. I think so.
I had an ex that could stick his tongue up into his... You know how the sinus cavity drains down into your throat?
Oh my God, I'm going to throw up. Keep saying it. Keep going.
He had like a wicked long tongue, and he could get up there and scoop-a-doop.
No, sir. What in the ever-living fuck?
Mm-hmm.
That's not a human. You dated an alien disguised as a human.
What that tongue do?
Yeah.
Gene Simmons.
Kiss.
Oh man, I was gonna say the guy with the leg warmers.
3 for 3.
Who's that guy though? Gene Simmons.
The workout guy with the
Hey.
Richard Simmons.
See, I'm always
his
close.
brother.
I'm what?
No, it's not.
Can you imagine those family reunions?
I would be there.
That would be hilarious.
I'd love to be a fly on the wall. But no, my epiglottis, the doctor thought that I was going to choke on it inevitably and die because children do, which is horrible.
Another fear for parents to have.
Right. And so, thought I was going to have to be med flighted to wherever, and came in, like, touched it, pushed on it, whatever, and was like, nope, you're good.
You're all right.
Yeah, and here I am. I died from other things, but
Yeah.
I'm back.
Hey.
Hey.
I tried.
I wanted a swift exit so fast.
Oh, man.
It didn't pay off.
Okay, so narcissistic personality disorder versus narcissistic behavior.
Mm-hmm.
I was in my element writing this. Like, I love college
this.
papers. I love school so much.
What's that like?
Out here. Well, I mean, I dropped out because of, like, a panic disorder. But
Okay, that makes sense.
like, when I got to it, when I was medicated.
Ugh.
Blessings.
I mean, insanely well done document.
The main difference is one is a disorder. Behaviors can be changed. The disorder cannot. I would change that too. The main difference is that in one, it's a moment and the person feels remorse.
Mm-hmm.
With narcissists, it's a disorder where they literally don't feel remorse.
Oh.
So it with narcissism, it touches a lot into sociopathy.
Okay.
So sociopaths,
Lack of empathy.
yeah. Narcissists, it's more like everything they do is calculated, means to an end. It's more for their own thing.
Right. A lot of
Sociopaths,
manipulation.
also kind of the same, but it's just more extreme.
With sociopaths is more extreme? Okay. And sociopathy, which one is more likely to be a serial killer?
Sociopathy. It's sociopaths.
Okay.
Yeah, because there's a lot more like violent tendencies.
And they can't understand, a lot of them, from my understanding and true crime personal research, a lot of them cannot understand what is bad about what they've done, right?
That's more psychopaths.
Okay.
Sociopaths know exactly what they're doing and that it is wrong. They're more the ones with like the premeditated murder versus the psychopaths that are like just completely fucking unhinged. That's usually from a traumatic brain injury, horrible trauma, something like that. Sociopaths are born that way.
Oh.
Yeah.
So psychopaths can become.
Yes.
Aaron Hernandez versus Ted Bundy, says Jimmy. So Ted Bundy was a psychopath.
Sociopath. Psychopath. Aaron Hernan turned into a psychopath because.
Oh, right, because he wasn't like always a murderer. He just.
Right.
Okay.
Like the people that you're like, oh my God, they just fucking snapped.
Okay.
Sociopaths are like that from a very, very young age. Like,
so those are the kids that like push other kids down the stairs and are like, what?
And laugh.
Okay.
Yeah. And they learn
I've known a few.
They're able to learn social cues and use them for their own benefit.
I've heard this about sociopaths when I was researching my ex-boyfriend's behaviors and whether he was a narcissist or a sociopath.
Both is usually where it comes down to. Because they'll exhibit narcissistic behavior, but on a deeper level, it's
manipulation. Yeah. It's
everything they do is like
to get to a goal.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a reason. They're constantly like working everyone around them for their own goal. But I'm always scared, and that's a reason why I am like the realization that I never learned how to process anger in a healthy way.
Right.
Was because I just packed it down because I was always so scared of being like her.
She was explosive.
Yeah. Very.
Yeah.
So yeah, like I think we talked about it, and it was like we determined it was probably imposter syndrome, but I'm always afraid that like I'm not actually, like, if people say I'm nice or something, or they think I'm nice, and I'm like, yeah, but there's a fucking darkness in here.
Right, if you really knew.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's always been like a fear in the back of my mind, and I think that's why, because like I have an innate sense where like I can pick up on people's strengths, weaknesses.
You read a person well better than anyone I've ever met.
But I also read about sociopaths. Because they take the emotion out of it. There's no emotionally charged thing when you're like, oh, this person's sad, I feel for them, and that kind of clouds your judgment on whether or not the person's full of shit or not. I feel like because I can read people, that I'm like, am I like a sociopath?
No, I feel like,
but then
because you're not scheming and plotting, but you just tell yourself you are.
Yeah, like if I'm going, like when I went to volunteer, and I was like, am I doing this to like build myself up, you know?
If you are, you're not a sociopath because of that. Crazy? You might be crazy, but you ain't no sociopath.
Well, my therapist said it's just because it's like a constant fear.
Yeah.
And if I was in fact a sociopath, I wouldn't think about, am I manipulating someone, or am I manipulating a situation, or like, am I harming people with...
You probably wouldn't know if you were a sociopath too.
No, they know.
Oh, they do?
Yeah.
What about narcissistic people? Do they know?
No. It's from my research. It's more like they have an underlying feeling that they are always the victim.
Right.
And they, in their head, genuinely think that people are doing them wrong by not bending to their every will.
Right.
Yeah.
Which gives them more fuel for doing whatever the fuck they want, right?
Yep. So, narcissistic personality disorder, I will be saying NPD from now on, is a mental health condition in which people have an unreasonably high sense of their own importance. They need and seek too much attention and want people to admire them. People with this disorder may lack the ability to understand or care about the feelings of others. But behind this mask of extreme confidence, they are not sure of their self-worth and are easily upset by the slightest criticism. People with narcissistic personality disorder. So, and this is from the Mayo Clinic. That was their definition. Like I went to like real stuff, and I referred back to my McLean's.
Amazing.
Worksheets, baby.
Yes.
So the difference that I can see in NPD and sociopathy is that sociopaths know exactly what they're doing.
Wow.
And narcissists have like a skewed version where underlying they're prone to more like anxiety, not really feeling the self-worth, but they put themselves out there like that and expect certain results back. And if they're not getting it, it's actually hurting their ego more than a sociopath will like dodge and weave.
Okay.
And they're gonna all right, that way didn't work. I didn't get the reaction I wanted. I'm gonna do this.
Okay, so I dated a narcissist with compulsive tendencies.
We all did, baby.
I mean,
well, the women were
are they really that common? That like I mean, because I feel like everyone has a parent or an ex or sibling who has been diagnosed with narcissism.
They may have narcissistic behavior. They may not have the full personality disorder.
Remind me what's the difference between personality and...
One's a disorder where it's inherently in them that they do think that they are the grandiosity kind of feel about them.
Well, maybe then...
Where some have behaviors where it's more like putting on a front when inside they're like a broken little boy.
Okay, so the one I dated had the behaviors. I don't think he had NPD.
Mm-hmm.
Because...
So that's kind of the thing where people with behaviors act very much like someone with a disorder.
Right.
But there's empathy behind it, and they just don't know. They were never properly taught how to care about others in a healthy way, show love in a healthy way, receive things in a healthy way. Like, won't work on themselves, kind of.
Yes. So the person I dated, we're really putting it out there. I hope he listens. He would feel sorry for himself first, and then...
And use like manipulation to...
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, because he didn't get the response he wanted, because I would cut him off. Mm-hmm. And then he would...
Change a
tactic and crawl his way back in. Mm-hmm. Usually by using something that was like in my deep past, like childhood or whatever, and show empathy for it, and then repeat the same behavior again and be dismayed when I left. And I think, I don't know, like, how do the behaviors eventually turn into the diagnosis or no?
There's a causes section, but before we get there,
okay.
Traits of someone with NPD: unreasonably high sense of self-importance and require constant excessive admiration. They are special, and they can only be understood by other special or high status people that they perceive as like...
So the president-elect. That's what you're saying.
Truly.
Okay, got it.
They become impatient or angry when they don't receive special recognition or treatment. Now that you say it, it's just going to be so clouded by that. It's hilarious.
Big baby.
Have fantasies of unlimited success, power, brilliance, beauty, or ideal love. Take advantage of others to get what they want.
nailed it.
Yeah, you did. We got diagnosis for you, Cheeto. React with rage or contempt and try to belittle other people to make themselves appear superior.
Incredible.
Have an inability or unwillingness to recognize the needs and feelings of others. That one, I'm not... It can be presented in different ways from what I've found and
really
my experience.
Like a manipulation sort of way?
So the key words are inability or unwillingness. So some people are unwilling to recognize someone else's needs and feelings because it doesn't work into their grand plan.
Right.
And then the disorder, they have the inability. Is it similar to someone that has depressive episodes versus major depressive disorder? Yes, that is exactly what it is.
And I can verify and validate that because I have major depressive disorder where I go over and over into spirals or into deep depressions whereas other people around me may have depressive episodes, but they're shorter. Like the major depressive disorder is defined by the length of the depressive episode and the frequency, whereas like somebody
And the lack of like a specific trigger, someone with like a depressive episode
yeah,
after a loss, after a thing,
correct, yes.
major,
It's like situational.
yes,
Right.
which like it almost makes more sense to an outsider that someone's depressed
Right.
after that. When someone with major
Right.
depressive disorder
Yes.
is like, what do you have to be depressed about?
Exactly.
Everything's going fine.
Exactly. And it's like, no, this is just the way my brain is.
No, bitch.
Yeah, exactly.
This is a dark place in here.
Come on in.
Great question from the audience.
Yes. And what I was going to say is that my ex, when he would get caught in a lie or what have you, he would immediately turn on the silent treatment. So it was like
Classic. It's like they get a fucking rule book,
it's
man.
unbelievable how much it aligns with other, like your experience too. They
Oh yeah, I got a few of those.
yes, he would be in this like, oh, you caught me, but I'm not going to admit it situation. Like he would say the truth finally after
I'm done with this conversation.
Yep. He
and
wouldn't
walk
even
away.
say that. He would just hang up and then give me the silent treatment after he told me the truth. Or he would just stop responding via text. And that way, that was such a form of abuse for me. It was such a violent form of abuse because of the blocking out, the invalidation of my experience. This is after I was diagnosed with CPTSD from my stalking situation, and he knew that. And he would block me off from having any validation, any discussion about it, any
It's a control thing.
yes.
They were done with the conversation,
Yep.
so they ended it.
Because they were exposed.
Right.
Yep.
And the difference between another different like major difference between narcissism, like NPD, and sociopathy is people with NPD have secret feelings of insecurity, shame, and humiliation, and fear of being exposed as a failure. Where
Wow.
on the other side of it, sociopaths they can't comprehend the fact that they're not. They will always think like they're like, no,
What do
I
you
am
mean?
greater. You just don't get it.
Okay, so I think it is
And those lines get very clouded.
yes. And I think Psychopedia actually touches on this multiple times throughout their episodes, their true crime podcast with Tank Sinatra and Investigator Slater. And they do touch on the fact that like they like sociopathic killers are so brazen because they're like they cannot conceive of
Like,
being with the littler people, with the commoners.
who was it? The one that sent the letters to the police all the time.
Oh, the Zodiac killer?
Yes. Yeah, that's a sociopath.
Yes.
Like being like playing a fucking game.
Yes.
Like I'm so much better than all of you.
Yes.
Like has that superiority,
yes.
that grandiosity,
Yep.
that of course
Yeah.
I'm never going to get caught.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
insane.
some of the causes, it's worth noting that there is not a known cause of NPD.
Okay.
The causes is likely complex. It is thought to be linked to environment, parent-child relationships with either too much adoration or too much criticism that don't match the child's actual experience and achievements. So always like a different perception of reality in like a very extreme way.
Like blowing it up too much or minimizing it. Yeah.
Being like, that's not what
Yeah.
this is at all.
Yeah.
Basically being gaslit from a very young
Right,
age.
right. That makes sense.
And then that becoming their reality.
Okay.
Genetics, inherited characteristics such as certain personality traits.
Oh.
And that, again, I think is the difference between narcissism and sociopathy. Because I don't think sociopaths inherit that. I think it's an entire, like, personality being. Like they're
chemical thing.
yeah, like they just have a genetic inability to
Right.
to
It's
feel.
like on a molecular level.
Yeah. I don't think it's traits.
Wow.
It's there's too much going on in my brain. I can't say it.
I know.
But
I know.
neurobiology, the connection between brain and behavior thinking, that's where I think like something's fucking missing. You know.
And it's not, so NPD doesn't come about like with psychopaths, like they have to have like a traumatic brain injury. They don't have to, but a lot of times they have like the psychopathic triad or whatever. It's a brain injury, abuse as a child, and I forget what the third one is.
So, because they are studying narcissists, you can't rely on the fact that they're going to tell you a truthful thing,
Right.
because they're always shifting.
They're always getting to an end goal.
Yeah, which is
Maybe that's what it's called. No, that's not the psychopathy triad.
so some complications of NPD and other conditions that can occur along with it. Relationship difficulties.
I love that they call them complications.
I know. Well, it's the Mayo Clinic. It's not just
really
going to be
cute.
like you're fucking everything up.
Right, right.
Relationship difficulties, problems at work or school, depression and anxiety, other personality disorders, like, what do they call psychopaths now? Borderline personality disorder.
They might, but it's incorrect.
They're like labeling it as that. They decided to take away psychopathy and sociopathy and call it borderline personality disorder.
You're fucking kidding me.
No, I'm
right?
not. I'm not.
Who decided that?
Fucking.
The DSM-5?
Yeah.
You're fucking kidding me.
Yeah, I'm not. That was another
I
one of my
want to
sources.
burn the
And
DSM.
I'm like, it's too.
They're completely different.
Right.
Because
And it
I
doesn't.
know people who have BPD.
Yeah. It's doing a disservice to those with actual, in my opinion, borderline personality disorder
Oh my God.
with lumping them in.
If anything, borderline personality disorder has magnified feelings because I feel like I was misdiagnosed and had or have BPD, but it's in remission.
Mm-hmm.
And let me tell you, every emotion that's on the negative side is physically painful in my body.
It's not the same thing.
It's not the same thing. That's crazy.
And what?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll send you the link.
Wow.
'cause I
The
was like,
DSM-5, by the way, the DSM board of directors can literally fuck themselves. Like, Bessel van der Kolk, like, campaigned for creating the diagnosis of post-traumatic stress disorder for, like, 20 years before they were willing to even listen to him.
Mhm.
And he was, luckily for the patients, treating people based on his findings.
I also heard it in a podcast. It was an audiobook of a doctor of psychology who was a sociopath.
Wow.
They wrote a book about their experience being a sociopath.
Amazing.
And there's a lot of violent tendencies that go along with sociopaths.
That makes sense.
And that, she was talking about like how she had to like do something smaller so it wouldn't build up into something bigger.
Okay.
Like she almost strangled a cat to death, but not completely, but she really wanted to.
Yes, it was like filling the need, but yeah.
Physical health problems, drug or alcohol misuse, suicidal thoughts or behavior.
And this is NPD?
Yes.
Okay.
NPD affects more males than females. It often begins showing sign in teens or early adulthood. Some children may show traits of narcissism, but this is often typical for their age and doesn't mean they'll go on to develop narcissistic personality disorder. I think that's worth saying.
Yeah.
For sure, because when you're a teenager, you are narcissistic.
Yeah.
In the way of like your whole world does revolve around you. A small inconvenience is the end of the world.
Yeah, because you don't have the
Right.
breadth of knowledge that
Right.
and perspective.
Yep.
Your brain's not formed yet, so
Right. But that's when the tendencies can start, and then I won't say it for a fact, but I believe the behaviors start at a young age and go on to develop. Oh, yeah. But this often is typical for their age and doesn't mean they'll go on to develop NPD.
Okay.
So I guess it seems like a broad group of people can have narcissistic behaviors, and some will turn into NPD and some will not.
That makes sense because like I feel like
I didn't see any research on what's the difference, or like what happened to one group that didn't get NPD and what happened to another group that did. It just seems like it's very complex, and they can't.
I wonder if it's like a part of the brain just didn't develop that was supposed to develop.
It's interesting because it comes from a place of such insecurity.
Right. I think perhaps the continued like derealization of the lived experience probably if you continue to have those
Or
parental
just like
figures in your life.
of that kind of behavior.
Yeah.
Of if they act poorly.
Yeah.
You know, the reinforcement of those kinds of behaviors where they got their end goal out of it.
Right.
Where then they're like, oh, I can keep doing this.
And I think we learn that in teenagerhood.
Yeah. And I think it's more like a honed skill, if you will.
Because I for sure tried to manipulate like to get to an end goal, to like be able to go drinking, like, or to be, you know, like as a teenager. When I realized that like that doesn't work and I was just fighting against the tide, it was like, all right, you got me.
Right.
You know?
And that's the difference between MPD and behaviors.
That makes sense.
Because I think everyone at a time or situation can exhibit narcissistic behaviors. I know I have in relationships in the like way of like, I'm manipulating a situation when I was drinking. Yeah. When we're hustling. It's the constant, because we are trying to.
I feel like a lot of alcoholics fall under this.
Absolutely. And I think there's a point where, you know, if that's not genuinely in you, that you can drop those behaviors.
Oh, yeah.
Because I think anyone that's, you know, an alcoholic or an addict, that's our life for a while.
Yes.
We are constantly hustling, moving,
always a means to an end.
So let's get into narcissism in relationships. A survivor can tell they're in a relationship with a narcissistic abuser if the abuser never admits fault or takes responsibility for anything. That's just
You don't say. You don't say.
Narcissistic abusers will also use gaslighting to make a survivor believe their memories of events are inaccurate or blown out of proportion.
Amazing.
Shame victims about anything from shame survivors about anything from their accomplishments to the previous trauma they suffered, insinuating they deserved it somehow.
Ah, yeah.
Honestly, writing all this out, it was a complicated
holy
thing.
Fucking shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it hit too close to home on certain points. Not necessarily with my last relationship, but the very abusive one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Often stay cool, calm, and collected, sometimes even amused when their partner is visibly distraught.
Ugh. That's gross. That's NPD?
Yes.
That's gross. Even amused.
You've never... Mine did that. When I would be, like, begging to have, like, to reciprocate in a conversation. And I would be upset about something that he did. Like, when I found him cheating on me. And he would just be like, you're crazy. And, like, laugh at it.
I'm grossed out.
Yeah, it was disgusting.
I mean, I'm sure people have done that to me, but, like, I just chose
hearing it read out, it hits different, right?
Gross.
Project their faults and wrongdoings onto a victim, survivor, such as blaming their partner for lying or cheating when it's actually the abuser is doing those things.
Yep.
Fucking classic.
I mean, been there
if you
my whole life.
Looked like this, acted like this, just like this, I wouldn't have to look for somebody else.
Right.
And I didn't even have to look for them. They just come to me.
Right.
What? Oops.
That's so gross.
Abusers may tell a survivor, change the subject in conversations in order to evade accountability, aka turning the blame back onto something the survivor did instead, even if it's not relevant.
Wow.
Classic.
Wow.
I know I cheated, but you forgot to pick up that mail one time. that's an extreme example, but you know what I mean.
I mean,
Abusers may tell a survivor they're going to get better and are working on it and just need a survivor's help in overcoming their mental health issues.
I love that one.
That has been used on me too many a time.
Same, because
it feeds into like my compulsive caregiver.
Yes, same.
Where I feel like I'm needed, which is ultimately.
And I do have a solution, because if you just do this work on yourself like I did, not in like a egotistical way, but there are avenues of help for you, and I can connect you to the right avenues.
They hate when you give them actual, solid, concrete.
Because they're fucking
routes to being better.
They're useless. I'm sorry. They're useless.
Yep. Love bombing.
I mean,
classic.
Duh.
Ruin a special occasion. The victim then craves the... So love bombing, showering with grand gestures of affection and attention only to begin tearing their self-esteem later on. The survivor then craves the original amount of admiration back, beginning a dangerous cycle of psychological abuse. He wasn't always like this.
Yes, and
we were so good.
And it's like it also feeds into that passion need.
Yep.
For me, like it's like an addictive. Passion like that actually has the same effect on the brain as addiction. It's oxytocin that's released when you have those feelings of goodness and extreme love and like amazement, and then it's like taken away.
Yep.
Right, because they've inevitably done something.
They locked you in.
Yep. And then they'll give that back to you, and then they'll take it away again.
They will ruin a special occasion. Treat strangers better than loved ones.
Sorry, I'm laughing. It's just like...
No, I know. It hits so hard. Twist everything you say and do.
Yep.
Make you feel unworthy of good things and love. Make you feel hopeless with yourself. Leave you with anxiety, exhaustion, shame, devalue, betray, and reject everything you have ever given to them. I know I did this, but what about when you did that? Distracting you by shifting blame. I know I did that, but trust me, I'm not a bad person. Undermining and dismissing their mistakes. I did that for you. Can't you do this for me? Guilt and shame you into doing things that you don't want to do.
Wow. So when a narcissist says these things to us,
what do we do?
What do we respond with? Run away.
Run away. So kind of touch on this. An abuser diagnosed with NPD just means the abuser has two issues now: mental illness and they are an abuser. Like that needs to
very clear. Yeah.
Be made very clear.
Yeah.
That someone with a mental illness does not always equate them to being an abuser. It can be abusive behaviors, but truly they now have two issues.
Yep.
A mental illness and they're an abuser.
I always say, like, with my traumas in my past and my experiences, I should have become a serial killer.
Yes.
I should have become a serial killer.
I think that's maybe why I'm always scared.
Really?
Sometimes.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Because I listen to true crime podcasts, right?
Me too.
And I'm like...
Like religiously?
I'm like, same, because it gives me a sense of control and peace, right?
And they're worse.
They're worse. Right. No. So, like, when I'm going into a dissociative episode or I'm stressing the fuck out, I'll be like, Jimmy... When we're going to an event or something, I'm like, we need to put on Psychopedia. We need to put on, and that's why we drink, whatever it is. Because I need to listen to a true crime podcast to be able to get out of my own head. It calms me down in a way that I cannot explain. And where was I going with this?
That we should have become psychopaths.
We should have become... Every time I hear a story, I'm like, okay, so like that happened to me too. Not to minimize the trauma of the fucking serial killer,
but like I got through it. You fucking cop out. You just go around murdering people.
And I'm a nicer person than I was.
We just sit here and deal with it, bitch.
Yeah, we just like raw dog it.
We go to fucking McLean's.
Right. So it's like wild to me that I'm not a serial killer. I should have absolutely been one. I should have been a psychopath. I should have been at least a narcissist, like diagnosed narcissist, but
We used our experiences for good, not evil.
it's really wild.
Yeah. Because that's kind of what, like, when I look back, like, when I'm talking about, like, with my therapist and stuff, where I'm like, she has all the same characteristics where she can read somebody and know their exact,
Right.
like, biggest insecurity.
Exactly.
But she uses it for evil. She uses it to break you
Right.
down, manipulate you, hurt you.
You're,
Because she
right.
likes hurting people.
Right, but you're more of the kind of person who's going to use it for good, like a therapist would.
Maybe that's why people always tell me I'd be a good therapist. Because I can see people's, like, really big insecurities.
Oh my God.
But I'll flip it and just be like, I know your hairline is a really big issue for you.
Jimmy just said, "Wow."
It's me too, buddy. Why do you think I'm throwing bangs then?
Stop.
But,
Shots fired.
Like, I'll know that that's someone's insecurity and be like, hey, like, your hair looks awesome. Or,
yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
to build them up.
Right, like when
But then I'm like,
we
am I
met,
doing this to manipulate them so they like me?
No, when we met, I knew you were such a good person on the inside because I was like, oh, I've just gained so much weight in the past, 5 years or whatever. I just feel so shitty about myself. And you were like, girl, with that dump truck ass? And I was like, we're best friends now. Like, you just build me up, you know?
True.
It's like you take what hurts and you heal it. And
Because no one did that for me.
exactly. And listen, if you continue to do that for people, you're going to be so far on the other side of the spectrum from it's just the fact that you have the willingness to do that for people, just even if you didn't do it and you just had like the thought, is so far on the other side of the spectrum from your sister. You guys aren't even on the same spectrum. You know what I mean?
Thanks.
Yeah. I mean,
It just scares me some. I
of
don't know.
course it does, because you are the survivor of her illness and the brunt of her
we share
shit.
blood and stuff.
Yeah.
You know, where it's.
But this is, like I said, this is your hero origin story.
I love that you said that.
It's true. This is how people become heroes.
Or villains. I think she went bad.
She went bad, you went good. Thank fuck you went good.
And I think the biggest change in a lot of the work I've done is I don't just do that for other people. I also do it for myself.
That's the important work.
Not always, more often than before.
Right.
And that's fine.
Because
I have my moments, dude.
well, yeah.
You know,
We all do.
But the negative voice in my head is not nearly as loud as it used to be.
Good.
And I can accept. I can find some truth in compliments.
I like that you're so honest about that. Also,
I still have two more.
Oh, yeah,
talking
go
points to
ahead.
get to. Oh no.
I forgot what I was going to say.
So this is under tidbits and talking points. So narcissists will get away with their abuse because those who have not experienced it cannot wrap their heads around the possibility that such cruelty exists.
I had no comprehension, Ash. None. I was like, how could somebody be like this? Which is what kept drawing me back.
Right.
He's not really like this. Somebody can't treat me like this.
Right.
This isn't real.
This is crazy.
Crazy. I was gaslighting myself.
Yes.
Even after the stalker.
Yep.
Like when I was like, oh yeah, this guy's really doing this to me.
Yep.
He's really making me a fucking victim right now.
It's because the truth sounds insane. Because it is.
It was wild to me. I couldn't wrap my head around it.
I think because you and I, like, have the bigger heart, like, the more open personality.
Yeah.
Even after all we've been through.
Yeah.
We still allow people in.
I know. I often think, what the fuck am I doing?
Yeah,
But
blessing and a curse.
Blessing and a curse.
For sure.
What are we going to do?
But I, to a fault, will try to find the good in people.
Yeah.
And I've changed a little bit with that, where I no longer look past red flags to be like, oh, but they're so nice to pets or something.
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
Dig for it.
Right.
sometimes,
Right.
You know?
Yeah. You really have to find
And just being like,
something.
I'm actually going to just listen to my gut and like listen to what I'm seeing. And it takes going through something like that to be able to be like, you know what? And the work that we've done to be able to see
Yes.
the red flags as they come up
Yes.
and not fucking ignore them.
Because
Not gaslight yourself out of them. Not listen to the old voice from the
Right.
old abuser saying, that's not true. I'm actually a really nice guy.
Right.
And then point out 6 things that are good about them.
Right.
Listen. So I guess that will go towards like when you ask like, well, what do we do?
Mm-hmm.
What we do is we listen
Yeah.
to ourselves.
Which is so hard when you
Yes.
have a trauma background too.
Yep. Get to a place, work on small, loving affirmations to yourself so you can start believing your own voice.
My biggest thing, and like I know I say this every episode, but like my biggest thing during that time was, would you allow your best friend to go through this?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, no. And that's what made me go, all right, have a good life, click.
Only with distance can you see the dynamics. If you are still in contact, the abuser will likely use that pity channel effectively. Your partner is interested in maintaining the status quo and will say or do whatever it takes to gain control of the situation again. Most abusers do not change because they don't think they have to. And very important, abuse will always escalate.
Wow.
Without a doubt, it will escalate.
That's horrible.
You are teaching people how to treat you when you allow that type of awful behavior.
Yes.
And I'm not victim blaming. I'm
No.
just saying that if you let someone back after they've been abusive towards you, verbally, physically, whatever, they'll be like, I can get away with that. Let's see how much more I can
Push
get
it
away.
a little bit
Yeah.
further. Yeah.
And it will escalate to physical.
Right.
It just does.
Right. That's fucking horrible.
Manipulation is when they blame you for your reaction to their toxic behavior.
Been there.
So take a look at your relationship, whether it's a friend, whether it's a parent, whether it's
Sibling.
sibling.
Yeah.
Look at it.
Yeah.
Is this person building you up? Are they bringing you joy? Do you feel safe around them?
Right.
Listen to your gut.
I think the biggest thing for me before knowing what narcissism was like the feeling of a lack of safety.
Yes.
It was like
Walking
in
on
my
eggshells.
core. Yeah. In my core, I knew there was something wrong.
Scared of what version was going to walk through the door.
Yes. Knowing somebody by their footsteps.
Yep.
Um,
And someone manipulating conversations like that, like saying like, yeah, I cheated on you, but look at how much weight you've gained.
right. Right.
That is abuse.
Right.
You do not have to wait for them to throw you across the room for you to walk away.
Right.
And you don't have to justify it to anybody.
To anybody. If you have your reasons, that's enough.
Yep. And the best way to handle a narcissist, in my experience, don't give them a fucking thing.
Yeah.
Don't get upset. Shut down
Yeah.
while you're
Lock 'em
planning
out.
your exit.
Lock them out.
Yeah, while you're planning your exit.
Yep. Yep.
It will never be how it was in the beginning.
Right.
If they have shown you a different version of themselves,
Trust it.
that beginning was never real.
Right. The love bombing.
The love bombing.
Yep. Trust that that they're giving you exactly who they are.
Yep.
And trust yourself enough to show them that you're worth much more.
Mm-hmm.
You know? Well, thank you for all the research
you
that
are.
you did. And you are.
You are.
You are.
Get out of here.
Thank you for all the research you did.
My pleasure.
That was a lot. And if anyone's feeling a little bit icky after listening to this, or has maybe had some light dawning moments, take
Or
care
if
of
you've had the
yourselves.
yeah, but
Oh, yeah.
happen.
Watch that.
Yeah, they're like that, but no buts. No buts except Kelly's dump truck.
Yes. Oh, Jimmy just did a sound effect. Yeah, something something like that.
But if this is hitting, if your holidays were just ruined, if something like that happened to you or is happening to you, and you have an inkling that it might, we'll have some resources in the show notes.
Yes.
Take a look at them.
Yeah, please.
There's ways to create a safe exit plan.
Yes,
Which is really, really important to have a safe exit plan and tell other people.
Yes. Yes. Shout it from the rooftops if you have to.
You can get a therapist if you don't already have one.
Amen.
That's going to help.
I mean.
And then move on. Go through a hoe phase.
Right. Go through a hoe phase.
Remember who the fuck you are.
Exactly.
At the end of the day.
Take control back. And like I said, if you're.
Look at Jimmy.
I know.
You know?
He's killing it.
We move on. We thrive. We find someone that actually knows our fucking worth and loves us for it.
It's true.
Good, bad, ugly, and awkward.
And awkward as well.
I have to put that disclaimer in.
It's so true.
If the next guy I end up with, I gotta know, like, I'm gonna do some weird shit.
I mean, Jimmy matches my weird. If, you know, it's beautiful.
Was that in your wedding vows?
No, but it should have been. Yeah, I mean, it was more like we kind of say it all the time. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, if you're feeling any certain way after today's episode, definitely take a beat. Take a nap if you can. You know, take a long hot shower, whatever it looks like. Take care of yourself and follow.
And you trying to explain to them that they are a narcissist is never going to go anywhere.
Right. To reserve your energy for yourself. Thank you for joining us today. I hope that you guys have a brilliant week. And please like, rate, and prescribe this podcast to all your loved ones, your friends and frenemies alike, and coworkers, etc. And, you know, comment. Let us know what your experience has been. If it's not safe to do that, look up those links that we're going to put in. And
Grippy Sox Gang at gmail.com.
Amen. And we'd love to hear from you. In the meantime, keep it grippy, keep it grounded. Peace.